Johnny and Justin were two simple Imagineers at Disneyland until they dared to ask the question,
"Hey Justin, is Disney diverse?"
Well, Johnny, I'm not.
"Oh no, we've angered the mouse!"
Stormtroopers, run!
"Holy crap, it's a gathering of cookies!"
Now, from undisclosed locations within the Disney park, Johnny and Justin record a podcast where they seek to answer the question, is the Disney catalog diverse?
What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Disney+Diversity. I'm Johnny.
And I'm Justin.
And as you know, here on Disney+Diversity, we review the Disney catalog to see how diverse and inclusive it actually is. And on today's episode of Disney+Diversity, we're going back in our lineage. We're going to go take a look at the fruits of our offspring in a way. We're going to go see that next generation, that version 2, if you will. You know, the second coming. Justin, help me out. What are we reviewing?
Threw me off with some of the things you were saying. I went, wait, what's happening? What's happening? We are talking about, though, now that I'm caught up and I understand what's happening, we are talking about the Disney Channel original film, The Descendants.
Woo! The Descendants! Woo! Low-key, the Disney Channel phenom. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we usually review like older stuff for us and everything like that. Like we did Halloween Town. We got an upcoming episode on like Smart House. You know, Luck of the Irish. So all things are in the pipeline. But you know, we don't really like play that much like the newer Disney Channel like phenoms. Like we've yet to touch that High School Musical, but we coming.
I know.
We coming.
It's our white whale. You know what? It's you know, TV show aside, we haven't touched the OG. But this, speaking of High School Musical though, but High School Musical does share one thing with this film. High School Musical was directed by Kenny Ortega, and apparently Kenny Ortega just pumps out the hits because he is also the director of this film as well.
Well, Justin, what do you think about The Descendants as it was like taking over the world and getting multiple movies and everybody's going crazy with the merch stuff? Like, what was your how did you view The Descendants from afar? Like, what are your thoughts about it?
You know, I remember hearing about the idea and just sort of going, oh, that's interesting. Like, I was a little thrown off by it because like I didn't quite understand, like, so how, all right, I understand how Maleficent could tie in maybe to Jafar, I think, but Cruella, what's she doing here besides being famous? But then as I saw like the costumes of the cast, as you know, like the kids of Maleficent and Evil Queen, might I add hilariously that since she doesn't have a regular name, she has to just be called Evil Queen. And Jafar and
protect that copyright.
Yeah, you gotta protect that copyright. Branding, baby, branding. And Cruella as kid, it's like I'm watching their costumes and I'm like, is it me or their costumes kind of cool? I should probably not say that out loud to anyone. I kind of dig their outfits. They kind of look like they kind of remind me of comic book villains in a neat kind of way. And I'm like, oh no, maybe I kind of want to see this. How about you, Johnny?
I don't know, like to be really, because we've always had to talk about this, like the old school Disney Channel stuff. Like again, back when I was like one of the highlights of going to college was not just a college education, was not just the parties, not just like elevating me in life. It was really having access to the Disney Channel. That was the thing I was talking about when I was paying my tuition.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I was watching a lot of stuff they were putting out that back then. Wizards of Waverly Place, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So like all those like great things. But the thing about it is that like when this stuff started rolling out, I don't know, it just kind of missed me because it just like again, this was while the time that like a lot of the new shows were coming out that I was like finally started to drift away from. Like Good Luck Charlie. What was Hey Jesse, because that's where one of the stars of the movie, Cameron Bryce, got his start on. Because I actually remember watching like the first couple episodes of Hey Jesse.
Right,
so
right.
time was kind of like moving away from it. But I always remember like seeing it from a distance and seeing like everyone was going crazy from it. Like there was always like the memes online, things like that. There was all these behind the scenes stuff. It was almost like the new High School Musical, but not quite too much. Like
Right.
and it wasn't to the level High School Musical was like, hey y'all, we about to be in theaters. Like no, it didn't get quite that far, but at the same
Mhm.
time, it was like, oh snap, we got a good idea. We're hella successful. And
Well,
so I've always
yeah.
been checking it out.
Well, you know, it's interesting because like this is a long around the same time. You know, Once Upon a Time was also on TV, and like Disney's having this weird. I wouldn't say weird, but I guess that makes sense. But Disney's been doing these projects that they just want people to remember that they're Disney and that they have these characters that everyone knows. And so it's hilarious to think that at the same time Descendants is airing on TV, Once Upon a Time was also airing, but
Mhm.
they took like the I wouldn't say the MCU, but they took like a more like slightly more teenaged approach to those characters and try to do like a shared universe thing.
Yeah. To be honest, I was always kind of like, be honest with you, totally transparent. Like
Hmm.
I got the same vibes, and I've always low key been disappointed with like Once Upon a Time
Oh, sure, same.
and
Yeah.
Grimm. But the reason why though is because because you know comics just like me. One of my
Hmm.
favorite comic series is Fables. And
Yeah,
so
Fables.
Fables, for people who don't know, is an amazing comic book series put out by Vertigo,
Yeah,
written by Bill Winningham.
yeah.
And the thing about it is the whole premise is based upon like all of our like fairy tale people, like Snow White, the Big Bad Wolf, Boy Blue, all have to escape to the real world because something's happened like their fairy tale world, and
Hmm.
now they're here living like their own little village, like in New York. And it's a really dope series,
Yeah.
kind of dark. Got a lot of great storylines. Like I would highly recommend to anybody who's like a fan of comics and you want to see like fairy tale stories like being told. It is highly amazing. But the thing about it was though is that Fables it got so popular as a comic that Bill Winningham was being optioned to like sell it to different studios. So he goes around, he
Hmm.
shows people they're like, this is a dope idea, blah blah blah. And the thing about it is though, for some reason, at each one they're like, well, you know what? Because so many of these characters are in the public domain, they were like, we don't need you. We'll just make it ourselves and own it. And then
Yeah, no.
that's the reason why we got Grimm, which you know was a TV show that was on for a while, did some of the same things, and Once Upon a Time,
Hmm.
which came out around the same time period. So it
Right.
is. So I agree with you. Like it gives me those Once Upon a Tale vibes. But the cool thing I like about it is though is that they were kind of doing their own thing with it.
Yeah.
Instead of coming off from Fables, it was like I love what Disney was doing right here with the Descendants. Was like, hey, we have all this rich catalog, we've got all this rich stuff, and let's just play with our own universe in a way, kind of like you said with Marvel. Let's take our characters, combine them together, like have kids and whatnot, and they tell new stories.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of cool about it too, though. It kind of reminds me of is what was it? Not MCU. What is this on to my tongue? As they were building all this stuff out. Shoot, I can't remember what it was now, but I just love the fact that they were actually like building something that was like brand new and using all this history. Oh, I remember what it was the Disney movie theory. So you know how like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
like
yeah.
the ship that crash landed in Frozen, they say, "Oh, that's the ship that Ariel went to, and she found this, and this was the ship that Tarzan was on, and blah blah blah." It's like literally the Disney audience wants all those movies to be connected. They
Right.
really want it, and so with the Descendants, it's like you're kind of playing with that in a way.
Yeah.
Like
True.
it's like big scale fanfic in a way, which
Oh,
is kind of freaking dope.
that is 100% correct. That is actually what this feels like. This feels like a big scale fanfic, and also at the same time, you also get like because you turned them into the children, teenage children of those characters, you also get a little bit of that like AU alternate reality or alternate reality high school genre
Yeah,
version of those characters. That's which is another kind of fun mind game of like taking like say like there was that popular video that came out a couple years ago where it's like Batman was in high school, so Bruce Wayne is this, and Robin is like the new kid, and Selina's the goth, whatever. Um,
for
so
me,
the, go ahead. Mhm.
I was gonna say for me personally, I always hated that stuff. Like
Mm,
just me personally, like I remember they did the new version of the Batman at one point. It was called like the Batman. It was like they got a little bit hipper, hip with it and everything like that. They did a
yeah.
version of the Joker that did parkour for some reason. It was like, why the Joker doing flips? I don't get
Oh
this.
yeah. Yeah.
But I remember they did
Yeah.
it, but I've
Yeah.
never kind of like vibed to those things. But the reason why I like this though is because in a way you get to protect your original properties,
Hmm.
but at the same time you get to create new stories and like pay homage to that stuff through their children.
Yeah.
It's like you get to go ahead and protect your original properties, but you can go tell these new stories where you can be in high school, do all these hijinks or whatever, but you can keep all that old stuff protected and like in a glass vase in a way while doing all the things you want to do. And that's kind of like what I liked about this movie too, is that we got all those nods to our old favorite Disney stuff. Like, for example, can we talk about the music for a sec?
Yeah.
I gotta be real. So here's the thing: there's some dope songs here, and we'll talk about more of them. But the one that got me the most, which I did not see coming, is when they did a reenactment of their version of "Be Our Guest."
I guess, yeah.
That mess was fire. Put "Be Our Guest" to a hip hop beat. Be our guest. Be our guest. These bars. Oh shit. Oh, that was fire. That was fire.
Yeah.
So all in all, I gotta say, like, again, we're going to start talking about it, going to the plot and everything, but all in all, like, this movie is like a quadrant win. In a way, you get it with like new kids and everything like that who just want new stories from Disney. You get it with the parents who like are fans of all the old Disney stuff. And you get that tween audience who's like wants more High School Musical, then wants more the rom-com type stuff, whatever. In a way, this movie is kind of like checking a lot of boxes, which does surprise me why it was so successful.
Yeah. And it's, you know what, and like there's some fun to the kids, you know. I actually was surprised, like I kind of like them. I actually shockingly like the main four, you know. I Here's the thing. I was aware of Dove Cameron for a couple of years. You know, I've heard of her probably, you know, just from one thing or another. I know she voiced Gwen in a couple of Marvel cartoons that they did. But I never really saw her in anything really, you know. As I was watching her in this movie, as the daughter of Maleficent Mal, I was sort of surprised. Go, oh shoot, she's kind of cool. You know, like she's super entertaining, very funny, but like I can see, oh yeah, you got that Maleficent thing going on, and like also a decent singer. So I was like, hey, oh, I get why people are talking about her, but she's not the only one. I actually I had fun with Bobo Stewart as Jafar's son, Jay. Which is funny because he ends up being a thief, to which went, wasn't that Aladdin shtick?
Yo,
But,
yeah.
But I mean, this is what happened. Jafar's now, and also my brain kept saying, hey, nerd, turn off the continuity game. Because I know you know that Jafar technically is stuck in the lamp at the end of the movie. And if you watch Return of Jafar, he got out only to be destroyed by Iago so the show can start. But don't worry about that, Justin. Just have fun with it. I Also, I enjoyed Carlos. It's funny because the idea of Cruella's kid being afraid of dogs is kind of a hilarious concept to me. I will totally admit to that.
Yeah.
And Sophia Carson as here's like, so is it Evil her first name? Is Evil Queen her first and last name?
I'm looking at the cast page and it just says Evie, so it might be.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Evil Queen. This is my daughter Evie.
If her name was Evil Queen Jr., that shit would be so badass.
That would be so hilarious.
So fucking dope. This is my daughter, Evil Queen Jr. in this bitch. She's holding the fuck down and shit. She's coming for you. No, I agree with you because the thing about this is this was starting off. Like the movie opens up with them like singing their song like I'm riding to the cool. I'm riding to the cool. And the thing about this was at first I'm kind of like, all right, I get it. Like, you know, these supposed to be the cool kids or whatever and whatnot. But as the movie goes on, like I'm just like, damn, I low-key like these people though. And I like the actors and I like the characters are portrayed. They bring a lot of endearment to it. Like Evie, you used to legit start feeling bad for Evie as you watch this movie because Evie just wants the prince. She wants the fairy tale life. She wants all these different things or whatever. So she's been like putting herself in this box for this mode. She feels like she has to be the perfect housewife. She has to be able to throw parties, be able to cook, be able to clean, all the things that like, you know, Cinderella does and all this stuff like that. And it's interesting because in a way, like it's very like, it's like, again, it brings up aspects of like sexism in a way. Because like I feel like a lot of women get to that mindset. It was like, oh, I need to go and do these things just so I can meet a husband. And after that, I'm just going to scale back. Because it kind of reminds me about like during the 1950s, there's a lot of women who would go to college, do all these different things. But then ultimately they were like, well, I was going to be a housewife.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I got these degrees, got all this stuff, whatever, but I was going to be a housewife. And granted, it's probably because of pressure from their husbands, because they pushed back on their own ambitions or whatever, or they thought they had to fit that mold to be accepted and whatnot. Again, all these like, systemic systems in place. But in the way, the fact that Evie kind of represents that, I was like, oh shit, I feel bad for you. You have so much more potential than that. And it's kind of dope she gets explored throughout this film.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kind of dig how you realize like the kind of life that they had on the other island before they went to school in Aradon is that like they didn't have a lot of privilege that the and s- and riches or enjoyment that the other kids had. So when they got picked up in the limo and they were like, you realize like, wait, this is the first time they've eaten candy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they've never had candy before, which I didn't realize that's how deep we're going into this concept of
No,
different.
it was sad because he's like, it's sour, but it's what is this? It's like sweet or whatever. I was like,
Yeah,
oh shit, you've never had chocolate.
you never had chocolate,
You've never
and
had
then
a Sour Patch Kid. Oh god.
oh no, and then you see them like kind of like just shoveling the shit in their mouths, and it's both kind of funny, but then you're like, oh, what did you guys have to enjoy
Well, in a
on
way,
that island?
if you think about it, they pretty much like, I mean, let's just cut the bullshit. They grew up in jail.
Yeah,
There's like their
yeah,
parents were put into this jail, and they're the descendants of their parents, and they're being forced to be trapped before they're like the sins of their parents and everything like that, which kind of sucks in a way.
yeah,
And so, on one aspect, because the whole premise of the movie is the son of Beast and Belle is about to become king of the whole kingdom, whatever. And so as he gets ready to go into this role, he decides that he wants to give these four kids a chance and allow them to come to school with everybody else, and which is dope. But my immediate question is, the fuck, why those four? Why not all the kids?
right, right, right.
It's like, what did they do to like stand out? In fact, they seem like the ones with the evil plan.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of a question that kind of like lingers there, was like, why these four, not everybody else?
Yeah,
I'm guessing producer Stacy's like, she's like looking like she was like, oh, that's why the sequel exists.
that's why 2 and 3,
That's
baby.
what we find out in part 2 and 3. But she's not trying to spoil it. But all right,
or
we
the
see you, producer
or the
Stacy.
animated series,
Exactly. But that is the question that kind of comes up though.
Mhm.
But it's like, why those four kids? Why not like all those kids in a way? Because they shouldn't all be punished for the sins of their parents, like trapped
Right,
in an island.
right. So I want to talk a bit about the parents themselves for a little bit. I've recognized a couple of folks in here. I definitely recognize Kathleen the Jimmy. If you know Sister Act, you know. And, as evil queen. And then it was it here. Wendy Raquel Robinson as Cruella de Vil. She was a lot of fun. Maz Jobrani as Jafar. Not bad, decent. Didn't really get a good read on his Jafar. I just got to scream though. Kristen Chenoweth as Maleficent.
Good lord, good lord, good casting. She, she was just chewing the scenery. She was just chewing the scenery. It was
and
like
enjoy, and
Broadway.
she
It was Broadway
every
on steroids.
I loved every second of her as Maleficent. Look, I've not seen the Angelina Jolie films. I don't know. Not sure if when I will get to those unless we decide to cover it. But I've had no interest. Yeah, and producer Stacy just told me her opinion on them. But I don't know. For me, Chenoweth is absolutely entertaining as Maleficent, and I loved her performance. I loved her scenes with Duff Cameron. Um, she I heard that unlike a certain other live action film, she actually turns into a dragon, and so like I don't know. I thought she was a lot of fun. She's probably my favorite, and yeah, the film is pretty much centered around her evil plan.
Yeah.
So I
Also,
thought she was great.
but also don't forget Wendy Raquel Robinson, who played
Cruella.
Cruella. And shout out to her because we're like old school, like UPN WB fans. She was on the Steve Harvey show, and she played
Oh shit!
Greer. That's Principal Greer right there.
I totally forgot about that. Oh my god.
So fine, so fine. That's what blew Steve Harvey up is his career. That was that show.
That's
But
right.
so she was there. And she did a great job as Cruella as well.
100%. 100%.
The scenery too.
Hmm.
I will say though that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I did have one critique though, because here's the thing.
Sure.
So to play Jafar, they got Maz Jobrani to play Jafar, and he's an Iranian actor and everything like that. My one critique, I'm about to say, Justin.
Go ahead.
I'm about to say.
Just say it.
So while I love the cast,
Mm-hmm.
and my man, Justin, how do I say this man's name? Is it Boo Boo or is it Bobo?
Boo Boo Stewart.
Okay, so Boo Boo. So while I love Boo Boo and Boo Boo's a cool dude, he's an amazing actor, whatever. My only critique here was I wish they had gotten like an actor of Middle Eastern descent here.
Yeah, yeah.
While the brother's like hella diversified and everything like that, like he's a little bit of everything: Japanese, Irish, Native American. Boo Boo can play a lot of stuff though. But here's the thing though: in that lineage, why you say he's not Iranian, and but you could even
No.
argue that he's a brother with a tan, but that still ain't Iranian or like Egyptian or like a lot of those different Middle Eastern countries. And the
Yeah.
thing about this though, a lot of those Middle Eastern actors they don't get chances unless they're being made to play terrorists, and that's
Exactly. No,
so
I agree.
honestly, that would be my one critique as far as the casting goes. That my homie Boo Boo, you dope as hell. But either if you want Boo Boo in that movie, you need to change who's the son of, or you need to go ahead and like cast somebody of brain descent there. Like
Yeah.
the fact you got Mulan there, maybe you could make him the Mongolian kid. He's the son of Mongolian or something like that.
Mhm.
So, Perry producer Stacy, we got people showing up later. We're going to find out about.
Yeah, it's so funny. I do want to call out Lonnie, who since you brought her up, I do want to call out Lonnie, aka Mulan and Shang's kid. Diane Doan, who plays the role of Lonnie, and I actually know her better from the HBO series Warrior.
Oh.
She's great in that show, but I couldn't help but like just let you in my head. As soon as like I saw her enter the scene in her first scene, I looked at her and went, "So Mulan's kid." Like I know this is the whole point of this is that they're the kids of other characters, and she's the only Asian I'm seeing on screen right now. So she's Mulan. She's Mulan's kid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
No,
I mean,
I get it. Hey, that's why I'm glad we had the one.
See, for me, it's like I'm playing like a little bit scared. Like if I see like a little black kid show, I'm like, okay, either that's the daughter, either that's the child of Tiana, or that's the child of the Tar Baby. I don't know where the fuck they're going with this one, so we'll see. I hope it's the child of Tiana. I ain't gonna let them forget that shit. They made Song of the South. I ain't gonna let them forget that shit.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not gonna fight you on that. I'm not gonna fight you on that. But
So getting into the
Go
plot
ahead.
of the whole thing.
Yes.
So the whole plot is centered around, like again, we said before, the beast is that they talk about like pretty much all the magical kingdoms get combined together to one land, and they vote for the beast to be king. Good job, they have one election. But then after that, they decide that the beast's son is going to just inherit and get the crown next. Which to me, I was like, wait, so y'all have one election, but y'all can't have a second one? I was like, okay, magic rules, whatever, do y'all.
Whatever. Yeah, it's fine.
Do y'all whatever you want to do, Regency, whatever. So but as he's getting ready to go into power, he's like, you know what? I want to bring 4 kids over from the island that we can keep everybody president to come to school with us to give them a chance and everything like that.
Yeah.
Which is a cool sentiment. Again, my whole premise is though is that like why only those 4? But hopefully we find out on maybe Descendants 2 or 3. But as they get ready to come over and everything like that, their parents, mainly Maleficent, is like, no, I need you to go on this mission and get the fairy godmother's wand, because if you get her wand, we can blow a hole in this roof. I can get out and I can exact my revenge.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing. So the kids come there, and while they're going to school and going through all these activities, the whole reason they're there the whole time is to steal that wand so they can free their parents.
Yeah.
And so they go through a lot of different things to do this, from like like hijinks to break into the museum to also like putting a love potion on the beast himself, the beast's son himself, and everything like that. So all in all, like, just how'd you feel about the plot of this? Did you feel it's pretty strong, kind of weak? Like, what were your thoughts?
The plot's fine. I mean, like, it does give the kids something to do. I think like kind of like doing a heist to get the fairy godmother's wand is kind of a neat idea. That also does lead into that song between Mal and Maleficent in the museum. I actually do like that song. Not one of my favorites, but it's not like my favorite one. But
People Like Me.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun number, and I thought that was a decent scene. I will say the stuff. Okay, look, we have not really talked about Ben very much yet. Ben's fine. If I could be, like, look, I get it. The game of this is more like names of the characters. Can I say that? Are you on mic, Stacy? Or no? You want no? Let's hear it. I want to hear you say that.
Right, producer Stacy, what do you think of Ben?
Hello everyone. The words that I said were Ben's a little bitch.
Johnny, do you have anything to add or argue?
I don't really like him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like homie comes off as like the white.
He's weak. He's I don't know. He's a weak character, and I hate to say he kind of continues to be like that throughout the other movies, and
For me,
it's unfortunate.
for me, it's because he kind of comes off as the white male savior in this whole thing.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like,
Oh
it
yeah.
was my idea to say you poor minorities. It was my idea to bring y'all here and lift you up and blah blah blah. Which I was like, okay, I get it, but it's like y'all could have used so many other people's kids for this. Like for example, as I was thinking about this, like because you got the Beast is royalty. He gets turned to the Beast or whatever. He goes through a harsh life though, but like he doesn't really learn the lessons that Ben is trying to implement.
Yeah.
The character who would understand this the most, whose child this should have been, which would have been some dope diverse casting as well, is Aladdin and Jasmine.
Yeah.
Because Aladdin comes from the bottom. Aladdin was a street rat. He was the outcast. So he passes these values on to his son. His son is like, Dad, you yourself was a street rat. Had you not become like the king of all this kingdom, they might have put you in there. We should let these 4 kids get a chance to get out and see what they can be. And it's like that would have made more sense. And all of a sudden we get a better character, more reasoning behind this and everything like that. And we get some dope diverse casting because now we got the kid of Princess Jasmine and Aladdin in that piece.
I first I want to say that's actually genius. That should have been the character. That should have been it. As soon as you mention the backstory, I'm like, yeah, that thematically makes more sense.
Yeah, and I don't think there's no Aladdin and Jasmine's kid. Like, there's no character that shows up in the other movies as far as I can remember either. So it's kind of sad. I don't know why.
You know why? Because Princess Jasmine and Aladdin ain't about to bend the knee to that fool. They was like, why we gonna put him on our kingdom, give up what we got to be part of this suck MC mess? And, like, we don't bend the knee, son. This is the North. I mean, this is Aruba.
And here's the thing, I think yours is a better choice, but even to go with who they gave us, Queen Belle and Beast, right? They didn't really do much with that because that would have also, if just a little tweak, Beast was a feared creature who lived in a castle that no one wanted to go near.
Yeah.
And he was feared and was threatened, and and he had until he turned into not the Beast. So he also had a backstory that Ben could have brought up, that like, Dad, you were feared and ridiculed, blah blah, and then Mom gave you a chance. That was never addressed in this movie.
No.
And I feel like, as a fan who loves the original film, like, I get it, Beast and Belle in name only, it's fine, but also part of me goes like, but isn't, like, don't you want to try to give me more of that Belle from the original movie?
Yes.
Where she's like,
yes,
like, she's like, I grew up as a bookworm type, or didn't you want to throw a little bit more like personality into Beast instead of just casting a guy who could have played any dad in any Disney movie?
Well, I totally agree with you. And honestly, there's a point in time where everything's going on in the movie, and all of a sudden the experiment looks like it's failing. Where like the 4 kids, they get into it with like some of the parents of like some of the people their parents tortured or whatever, and so they run into them. Like at one point they run into Sleeping Beauty, and she starts freaking out and gets upset and everything.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, in that moment, the dad gets upset, Beast gets upset, it's like, see, this was a bad idea, and then Belle just follows him, which I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, here's the thing though. To your point, like, Belle is the bookworm. She's an educated woman. She's a feminist figure. She's like saying that I value education. I have my own right. I don't need a man to save me or whatever. And sure, she goes and literally she's the heroine in a way because she goes and saves her father in that movie. So in the moment when everything's falling apart or whatever, I'm looking for Belle to be like, yo, put on some glasses, start spinning some bell hooks, start dropping some knowledge or whatever. But they turn her into the typical princess, which is like, yo, this is disappointing right here. Like, the thing about it is that you went the route of making sure you had a nice diverse cast, a lot of powerful female figures here and whatnot. But in some instances, you weren't writing them the right way, especially characters like Belle. Here's the thing though, there are ways and avenues to tell the story to get where you want to go without demeaning and tearing down these characters that we value and look up to so much.
No, I agree, and I guess this is the one bit of weakness with the high concept, right? Is that you have the toy box of all these Disney characters, and you do the work on Maleficent for sure, and maybe the work on Evil Queen and Cruella and Jafar, but then when you get to the main, the non-villains, they're the kid of because we said they are. Like Lonnie is the daughter of Mulan and Shang because she's Asian. How about does she have her mom's stubbornness or Shang's kind of hardworking ethic? She's Asian.
That's it.
Didn't even want to give it a B for effort.
I will say they do explore her a lot more in the second one. Just so you know, she's more well-rounded in the second one.
Well, that's good.
Descendants 2, baby. All right.
I'll do that review later.
Yeah, we'll review that later.
But I will say though, I will give them credit for like working good with the ones because again, going back to it, like my favorite characters here were honestly, I liked all the main characters.
All the main characters.
Dove was dope, but honestly, like I love Boo Boo's storyline.
Yeah,
I feel like the jock and everything like that. I feel like he has to steal to like live up to his like father's expectations of being evil.
Yeah,
but then it's like it kind of shows me the beauty of having a well-rounded high school experience. Because again, as a teacher myself, the thing about it is that I tell people all the time, the most important things that kids need are actually extracurriculars. Yeah. Like you need a well-rounded education. You need music classes. You need sports. You need all these things so kids can kind of find out who they are as people. Are you creative? Are you an athlete? What are you? So when Boo Boo goes here, all of a sudden he goes in the field and like all that aggression, all that like one rough play or whatever he's always had, it's perfect for sports like football and like rugby and all those things like that. And he finds a place where he's accepted and valued. And then what happens once he's there? Once he feels like he's accepted and valued, he's able to learn teamwork, being good, working together with others, and he grows as a person. It's a fucking beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
For Evie, what's dope about her is so Evie feels like, okay, I need a prince, I need these things like that. So she goes looking after the prince. But what did she find out about the prince? The prince, who's like, what was the name of the who's like he was the son of Prince Charming, right?
Yeah. Chad Charming. Oh, he's such a
double C.
Of course he had to be named. Of course he had to be named Chad.
Fuck ass Chad.
Never name your child Chad. I want anyone. That is a dark path that you can't do that to your kid. Continue.
What ends up happening is though that she goes after Chad. She feels like she has to impress him and everything like that. She says, "I'm a good housewife. I can do all these things." Blah blah blah. And Chad's like, "Oh well, I want to date you, but I'm so busy and everything like that. Like, you think you can like do my homework for me? Then maybe I can find some time to hang out." And so Evie starts doing the homework, starts doing the stuff for Chad, but Chad legitimately is just using her.
Yep.
And then at one point tries to like expose her for cheating or whatever. But who comes and saves the day? Who comes and saves the day? My other favorite character, Dopey Jr. So Dobie Jr. takes up for her, defends Evie and everything like that. And Evie learns like, oh, you know what? Sometimes you don't need to value looks. Sometimes you value other things in people, like being a good person, having a good heart, like Dopey Jr. has.
Yeah.
And then what does Dopey Jr. do? He doesn't value Evie for her looks. He starts building up her as a person. He's like, you're really smart. You were doing that dude's homework. You can get B's and A's on your own. You got this. And what happens? Evie starts killing it in school, showing off her intelligence. So she grows as a person. So all of a sudden, she's not just focused on her physical attributes anymore. She's like, I want to develop a mind. I'm a thinker. I'm a scholar. That's awesome. And then you get the Cameron's character who's like, he's just a sweetheart kid. Like, he's just Carlos.
He grew to like a dog. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's his whole arc.
That's his arc. But you know what?
He likes dogs.
He likes dogs. It's cute.
They were like, look, Cameron, we only got 90 minutes, so we'll do what we can, homie. So shit,
I like the idea though that his mom has been building up dogs as this horrible thing in his head for all these years, and when he finally has a dog to pet, he's like literally FaceTiming to his mom, going like, "You fucking lied to me. These things are amazing."
And then we do get Dove's whole arc where the whole thing is that she's struggling about whether she wants to be evil or not because she does use the Beast kid. She slips him a love potion, and so her whole arc is realizing that trying to figure out, does she want to follow in her mother's footsteps?
Yeah.
Does she want to be evil? And so honestly, on the journey of their arc, which is like kind of the shared arc they all share, we get some really cool moments. Like we get that moment like where they're in the kitchen, they're trying to make like the evil potion.
Yeah.
The love potion is going to take over Ben. Mm-hmm. And then Mulan shows up. Is like, oh, what are you guys up to? Are y'all making brownies? Oh, like aren't brownies the best when you have like a cold night or whatever? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Well, we never had that.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of emotional moments like that where again, I got to give the main cast credit. Dove, Cameron, Boo Boo, and Sophia. they deliver these roles of like portraying these emotions where you feel bad for these kids and everything they've gone through.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's actually the neatest thing about this movie. It's for kids. Doesn't forget it's for kids, but the movie actually finds a way to actually kind of address is like, hey, bad parenting, is possible. And like, if you're not, if you just give the kids the right encouragement, they can actually accomplish things that you never would have believed they can accomplish.
Mhm.
And I feel that's kind of the neat thing about, like, obviously when you actually kind of look at the movie, like Maleficent's the one who's manipulating her children, you know. Uh, Whereas you can even make the argument that Cruella just wanted the best for her kid because she had a bad experience with dogs, you know. Weirdly enough, the woman with the name Evil, not as evil as Maleficent. And Jafar, at this point, I think I look at Jafar as like just going, you know what? I give up. I'm just gonna run a shop.
I gotta be real though. I did find that part racist that the fact that made Jafar run
Yep.
like
Okay. Yep.
that was low key racist right there. I was like Jafar's running a corner shop, and the evil was like, okay, that's fucked up, y'all. The man was like the king's counsel and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Like I understand the idea of like oh, maybe Jafar like has a more humbling job, but I'm like, you did turn the only Middle Eastern character. You did turn this Middle Eastern character as a guy who runs a convenience store.
Kind of not kind of that's racist.
That's definitely a step back.
That's racist.
It's a step back.
Okay, so I'm gonna get kind of high concept on you really quickly.
Oh, okay. I'm into this. Let's go.
Okay, so here's the thing. So this is the thing about like the politics and like whatnot that we consider like growing up in the ghetto versus growing up in a privileged area or whatnot. And the way it is that like, oh, you grew up in this ghetto area, so it was so bad for you. So come to this suburban area, this like privileged area where you'll get more opportunities, whatnot. And the area you came from was so bad, like it's terrible. They messed you up. But it's interesting too, though, because I remember Michael Vick, the famous football player, he had this quote where it's like, he says like, if you hate where you grew up, you're gonna have a miserable life. Like you gotta love where you're from, otherwise, like you can't really appreciate anything. And so that is something that kind of sticks out to me here is that they portray like again everything those kids went through from back where they were is just like horrible. Like they had no valuable lessons there because I mean we consider it they learn to be tough, they learn to be resilient, they learn like other skills and whatnot to help define them as people. So I will say that I feel like again this is the first movie, so I don't expect them to do that much here in an hour and a half. But I feel like if this was like an ongoing series, or again the fact that we have two other movies, I feel like there's something to explore there because I feel like there's other things you can do here. Like one, explore the aspect of like, well, here's the thing: we grew up in this terrible area, but you forced us to be there. In a way, you're to tell people to put us there and put the children of your villains there as well. You need to let them out because again, there's like some problem with like some inequality happening right there, which is kind of a nice point to bring up. So I will say that there's stuff they play with this movie that makes you think, which is kind of cool, and there's stuff you can do in 2 and 3. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like I don't want to cast judgment on it right now because we haven't seen 2 and 3, and you can't do all that in 90 minutes. But if 2 and 3 begin to explore those topics, this could be a dope ass series.
And here's the thing, right? Like I bet you they didn't think about those themes, what you're describing 100% when they were writing this movie. You know what I mean? They were just like, oh, let's write a fun kids thing. And then here's the thing, even when it's unintentional, it's there. The text is there. The context is there. So I don't think it's wrong to start asking these kind of questions and explore these kind of topics in this series in a way that still remembering it's a kids film, it's for Disney, but also as a fun way to explore some honestly kind of hard questions to ask, And I would even say that, some of the smarter Disney properties get a chance to explore those questions in a way it's still Disney and it's fun and it's musical and whatever. And here is a case where we are talking about what you're saying, those are really, if they were willing to play that game and to explore that in 2 and 3, then I think there is some there's some merit to kind of playing with these Disney toys that way, and in a way that like it's fun and it's entertaining and kids will like it, and adults who watch the original animated movies will have a little kick seeing the reinterpretations of these characters with their kids. And also, if and this will be a place to explore those questions and to ask, hey, are we, is it fair to push these people away like that, without giving them a fair shot? which is what this movie does explore thoroughly.
Yeah, but again, I will give them credit though because again, there's great things this movie does do. It
Hmm.
was written by Joe San McGibbon and
Hmm.
Sarah Perriott. They're a writing team, two white women.
Hmm.
But they did a good job here. You kind of see the fact that you had two women writing the script. They had some of the strongest storylines here with some of the feminist storylines we had here, like
Yeah.
Eve's character and whatnot. So we had some dope storylines there, and with Dove Cameron's character. So we see a lot of great things there. And I mean, it is cool to always explore the aspect of like you don't need to be your parents because as we become more enlightened as a society, like we learn things that our parents did or believed weren't always right. Like as we come to studying more things about like the LGBTQI community, for example, there was a lot of bias and bigotry that happened with our parents' generation before that. As we become older now, we see kids who are able to use terms like sexual gender fluid, I'm
Hmm.
transgender, all these different things that kids are able to identify with now. And so the cool thing about movies like this is it does have the hidden message that you don't need to be your parents. You
Yeah.
can be someone else. And so again, I give the movie credit. It's dope as hell. It has a lot of great themes in it. Everything I'm saying right now is just pushing it to be like, we can do a little bit more. But again, I'm
Right.
not expecting this film. Like we said, if they could do this in 2 and 3, explore those concepts, this can make it even like this could like kind of be one of those things where it's like Avatar: Last Airbender, where you were made for children, but then you became something bigger than that because you were able to explore themes on a grander scale.
Right. No, I agree. No, for sure. I am weirdly looking forward to furthering the adventures of these characters. I legitimately wasn't anticipating that. I'm still waiting for my real Johnny Tsunami sequel, but
Mm-hmm.
just I saw some of the second one. We'll wait to that when we actually, if we ever cover it, but that's not the sequel I wanted. Now
We gotta review it though. We still gotta review it.
we are gonna realize I'm not saying
You gotta
anything.
see it.
I'm not saying much. I'm
Have you
not
watched
saying
it though? Have you
I
watched
watched
it?
I watched the first 30 minutes and I'm
Oh,
like I'll wait till we have to cover this.
mm, mm,
Hmm. Because
So,
I my love for the original is big. So
to see
we
Johnny
will
become an uncle is hilarious.
I'll give you that much. I'll give you that much. But that's a topic for a later date. We'll cover that later. But
But
yes.
as we get to like wrap up, I will say one other thing that I liked about this film is though, I like the fact that they did a lot of diverse casting here because they did one of those things that you always want people to do is that they went ahead and they weren't scared to change up the races of some of their classic villains.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you were able to take Cruella and make her black, which
Mhm.
allowed Cameron Bryce's character Carlos to be like half black, half maybe something else, which is dope.
Mhm.
He's biracial. And the
Yeah.
same thing we had with Aurora's daughter. Was it love interest's name?
Oh, hold on.
Audrey.
Audrey. Yeah,
So
yeah,
she's
yeah.
gonna be got this like black girl here too. So the thing about this was that like they weren't scared to change the races up of these classic characters. It was like this is dope. This is a little bit of rainbow casting right here.
No,
A little
no,
bit of
agreed.
Elizabeth history, which is cool.
No,
How
agreed.
would you do it, how would you do it in the main stuff? But we'll save that for another day.
That's a
We'll save
that's
that
a
for. We'll save
we'll
that for.
talk. We'll hold off on another. What was that?
We'll save that for our Peter Pan review.
Man.
Fun times coming, y'all. Fun times
I was
coming.
like, my head. Did you see my head just kind of went? I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do another Peter Pan movie.
That's what they want, Justin. We got to give the people what they want.
Oh my god, everyone be making Peter Pan movies, and I'm like, it's just the stop. Stop. I don't want it. I don't want any more Peter Pan movies.
So before we go into like we get to wrap up and everything like that, is there anything else that stood out to you, like anything good or bad?
um I actually quite enjoyed the fairy godmother and her daughter. I thought they were fun. Melanie Paxton, who plays fairy godmother, I think that I gotta say the subtlety in her outfit to just echo the original look of the original animated character just made me
Yeah.
smile. I was like, oh, that's cute. Like, I really dig that. It's like she's Disney bounding in a Disney thing. I find that hilarious. But I liked her daughter. I liked her daughter Jane, and I kind of dug what the relationship that was developing between her and Mal. And I generally really actually shockingly did like the finale. I thought the finale was a lot of fun. Hey, budget is CGI is what they could afford, but
Yeah.
I thought that was a fun finale, and I actually had a good time with it.
No, it was dope. And to summarize it for our audience, like in the finale, it's actually not our four main characters who actually free the villains. It's actually Jane, the son of fairy godmother. She wants
Mm-hmm.
to steal her mother's wand so she can make herself, and she quote unquote see is beautiful. Because throughout the whole movie, they've established a plot line that she has low self esteem and she looks down on herself. So Jade actually ends up freeing the villains, and it's our four main characters who stand up to their parents, who defeat Maleficent and actually send her defeat her dragon form. Terrible CGI. Terrible
Terrible
CGI.
CGI.
Shoestring budget. I understand,
Yeah.
but they end up defeating her, saving the day, and that's when they all choose that we want to be good.
Yeah.
We don't want to live in like area anymore. We don't want to be bad. That's not who we are. We want to be good, and that's the end of our film. Ends on a dope musical number, and they end up saying what's the name of the place? What's the name of that country?
Oregon. Oregon.
Oregon. With
The United States of Oregon.
I'm living in the Republic of Agrabah. I'm living in the Republic of Agrabah under my king Prince Ali and my queen Princess Jasmine.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Sorry.
Prince Ali, glory is
All right, that's another time.
Okay, so I guess as we get ready to wrap up, we're getting that part of the show, y'all, where we're going to give our ranking of the film. So here on Disney+Diversity, we have a ranking system of either being A, woke, meaning it's diverse, inclusive, and does the great things to push genre forward. Wakey, which means you do a couple of great things, but you're making some mistakes along the way. Or sleep as shit, which is like you're as problematic as a tar baby and Song of the South.
Woo!
Yeah, y'all made that. Y'all made that, Disney. Okay, so while we go ahead and write down our ranking, do me a favor, drop yours in the chat or in the comments below. Producer Stacy, while we go ahead and do this, what are we reviewing next? What are we reviewing next? Because we went ahead and did that list. What's the next on our agenda?
Oh yes, let me let me double check that.
Go ahead and tell the people we'll be reviewing.
I think I remember, but let me see. Oh yes, okay. Okay, so the next one we're gonna be doing is the movie, Disney Channel movie, Gotta Kick It Up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We'll be doing the Disney Channel movie. Got to kick it up. Nice. Si se puede, y'all. Si se puede. That movie was the breakout role with America Ferrera. I'm looking forward to watching that one.
Yeah, it's one that I definitely cherish from when I was younger. It's not, obviously it's not something that's like 1,000% relatable to me as a white female, but like I just thought it was, I guess it was definitely a progressive movie for Disney Channel, and I really appreciated and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see what you guys think of it.
I'm excited to figure out why it's not bigger than it is. Like on paper, it's the breakout performance of like America Ferrera. It's got a Latinx cheerleader team. It's like, again, people love cheerleader movies. It's like the formula's all here for this to be like one of their big things. We should have like 3 movies, but like Lemonade Mouth, we're gonna watch this and wonder like why isn't there more of this? So I'm interested to take a look and see.
I'm actually, it's funny. Lemonade Mouth really did kind of like open my eyes on like a Disney Channel movie that's actually pretty good, and you see it at the right age, it impacts you in a way that even if not everyone talks about it like they do with High School Musical or Descendants. Like again, when we posted and said we're going to recover Lemonade Mouth, that's one of the first real popular Instagram posts we did that a lot of folks were like just ready for it. They were like, yeah, no, we've loved Lemonade Mouth. And the next one that we're going to cover, you were the one, Johnny, pointed out to me, there's a group of kids who grew up with that movie that that was a huge impactful movie for them. And I'm like, yeah, like the ones that really hit you and you see it and they're solid movies and you see them at the right age, yeah, you're going to remember them and they're going to imprint on you really quickly. And I always think back with again, I keep bringing up Johnny Tsunami because that's a movie that so surprised me and how much I enjoyed it. And I saw the potential of it that I was kind of mad that I'm like, why aren't more folks talking about this movie? And is it because it's a Disney Channel movie and the budget's not as high as it could have been? And I even kept pointing out that like, if this was a big budget movie that went to theaters, more kids would be talking about this movie, But hey, we already did an episode. We're here talking about Descendants. So I got my my rating ready to go. Johnny,
ready? Okay, we're showing to the screen on 3. All right, ready? Here we go, everybody. On 3, everybody. 1, 2, and 3.
Waking. I
And
saw that. I saw that coming.
Yeah, and I put hashtag Evie, hashtag girls in STEM.
Ooh, nice. All right.
I can go first this time.
Please.
The reason why I gave it Waking is because while it is dope and you have some awesome things happening here, like I talked about the potential the movie could do, but I'm not judging it on that. Like the potential is there. I'm judging you on the movie. The Bechdel test. You surpassed that motherfucker. Like, oh my gosh, we had strong female characters talking about their own things multitudes of times in multitudes of areas, and it was super dope. We also have men being emotional, breaking masculinity with Cameron Boyce's character of Carlos, and also rest in peace to Cameron, dope actor. Which I got to know him more. I can't wait to see more stuff we review. And the thing about it is that you did a lot of great things, but there's some racist ass mistakes you made here. One, Boo Boo is a dope actor, but you need to go ahead and cast people of that descent or make a call on that and not just pass somebody with a 10 that fits that role.
Yeah.
Especially in like 2015, the era where this movie's made. Come on, y'all, be better.
No, agreed.
Having Jafar own a convenience store, that's just a racist joke you threw in there. That's just straight up a racist joke. Like legit. Like as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, y'all fucking around right now. So that was kind of messed up in itself right there. And then to Justin's point earlier about Mulan, but I'll let him talk about that. But yeah, those are mistakes that you made going along this path that you could have done better by. And then again, as we talk about it, Ben's character, the Beast Kid, is being the white male savior here. Mad problematic. Again, there's other ways you could have done this with other characters. As I pitched, Aladdin and Jasmine's son would have been dope. There's a lot of dope things you could have done here to bring a little bit more diversity here, and not put this like white male savior here.
Yeah.
But all in all, though, again, Waking, because you're on the right path. I am legit looking forward to Descendants 2 and 3.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin? Why'd you give it this Waking?
A lot of what you said, I 100% agree with, and as you wanted me to point out, Lonnie, as of this movie, if we're judging just this movie, the only Asian representation is Lonnie, and she's the Asian girl who's the daughter of Mulan, and that's it. That's all they gave her. And no, I think Jafar, the use of Jafar and the casting of Boo Boo is almost immediately knocks it to Waking. That almost alone is what knocked it to Waking to me. But then on top of that, the use of Lonnie as a character and the white savior-ish concept with Ben, it's 2015, like you said. Like we should have been better than that with this movie. So it's a disappointment in those regards, where it does excel in all these other things. Really giving Mal a real like arc for her to explore, and it actually feels like an interesting story. Dub is great in the part, and giving like just Tristan Chenoweth such a chance to really just let loose and salt and pepper and eat the scenery, especially because a character like Maleficent is so important to Disney. They'll let Kristen just take it and have fun with it, but still be the menacing character that she has to be. It's great. And the ideas of class issues and etc., like you said, Johnny, they're there and they're ripe for the picking if you want to explore that. But you weren't ready to do that in this movie. And that's fine. I get it. That's not the movie you were intending to make, but we'll see what happens with 2 and 3. But regardless of that, there's a lot of fun stuff, but a lot of me pointing and going, what were you thinking?
Like I said, it has a lot of potential. The thing about this was that I'm not getting mad at it what you managed to accomplish in like 90 minutes. Like in 90 minutes, you had to establish a universe, a world, establish these rules, all these different things. And at the same time, though, you gave us some dope stuff.
Yeah.
Evie was dope as hell. Dove Cameron was dope as hell. The diverse casting was dope as hell. There's a lot of great things happening here. Passing the Bechdel test, the Monster is dope as hell. So there's a lot of dope things that you did. Even the fact that we can talk about like behind the scenes, hiring 2 women writers to make this bad boy is dope as hell.
Yeah.
But again, it's just those like couple mistakes right there was like, that Jafar joke is just mad racist.
Mad racist.
That's just mad racist. Again, Boo Boo's casting is just not the right choice. And the thing about it is that's one of those times we gotta be an ally. We gotta stand with our our brothers and sisters from the Middle East and like, represent them, but like, yo, y'all need to get proper representation in these films.
Yeah,
but again, though, you're on the right path. And
Yeah.
hopefully with Descendants 2 and 3, you correct yourself.
Yeah. So, okay, as so once again, what's our next?
The
next episode is Kick It Up,
I think
Johnny.
Pick it up. Something's going on at my door. I don't know what's going on. I gotta go.
It's on